Hey coaches, are you having a hard time stopping other teams from driving in and making easy layups against your squad? Are you struggling to protect the paint? If you are, I'm going to show you a simple zone. Most of you may already know about it, but it's a 2-3 zone. You should consider implementing this into your defensive strategy, especially if you're giving up easy buckets. I'm gonna quickly go over just kind of the setup of it and kind of how it works, and then you can decide if it would work for your team. But I think it should be able to address any issues that you have with teams penetrating the paint real easy on you. Now, I will throw a caveat into this. If they're making easy buckets on you because it's a fast break, then the 2-3 zone is probably just not the right solution. But if it's, you're playing a man defense and they're, just driving in and beating the players, you might need to use the zone defense, which is a great defense, to quickly, get your team set up to par on using a zone, right? Um, it's essentially a defense that if you do it right and you implement it closer to the basket, as you can see, I have all the X's set up here. You're covering down that paint. Now, obviously, there's some weak areas, and you're gonna have to worry about perimeter shots, and I'll talk about that here in a little bit. But the 2-3 zone, if you're getting beat on, if their team's driving on you, you need to switch to a 2-3 zone. This is what it looks like, and this is why you would do it. So, if nothing else today, I just want you to know that if you're out there in a tournament, you're a new team, and you're getting beat by easy layups, just think, okay, easy layups, I'm going to a 2-3 zone. Get your team set up. It's a really easy defense to learn. They probably already know it if they've been playing rec, but here's how it works. So when I'm getting beat in the paint and I switch to a 2-3 zone, I actually I have my players not extend out past that 3-point line. So I tell my players, like, hey, we're playing behind the line, and they know that they're not going behind the 3-point line, and then it makes it easier for your team to keep the other team from driving in. Because what happens is they'll pop out, they'll get beat, and now they're still scoring in the paint. But essentially, that's how I do that. Now, you can play 2-3 zone extended, but it's not the most effective against protecting the paint. So essentially, what you have is, and I do have my players come out to the paint. My two guards, I do have them come out to the paint, and I do, bring this guy up a little bit, and I do have, I do have these guys come up, and I just have them watch, the back door to make sure that no one's popping in back there. And I know that looks more like a 2-1-2, but this is really just, putting my big player up here, just in a way to assist the two guards if somebody gets back. Because remember, I don't want them to score in the paint, so that's my focus here. That's what I'm focused on when I'm setting up this type of zone for this type of offensive threat. So so if someone tries to drive in, I'm having my two guards stop them, right? And then normally what they're going to do is they're going to pass out, and I mentioned this earlier in the video. You're going to have to you're going to lose your defensive perimeter defense against perimeter shots. Your team can still effectively close out and put some coverage on them, but if it's a good 3-point shooting team, you're going to have some problems with this. But if they close out effectively without fouling, you'll still be able to cause some stress for them. So just to kind of work this thing around, like how it looks, if the ball gets passed down here to the corner, you got a corner shot, this guy should pop out, close out. The middle guy, the 5 or the center should come over here to about here, and then this guy should be a little bit more in the paint here because you don't want him to work the ball in. You also want to have your guard pop out over here, and then your other guard come over here. If you're a quick team and you practice a lot, you can do some trapping over here. I recommend it, but if you're a new team and you're still just trying to figure this out and you're really just trying to keep them from scoring in the perimeter or in In the paint, maybe a press isn't the most effective way. But I really, really like the trap. I'm sorry, not a press, but a trap. I really like the idea of trying to trap in corners. Especially if you're a younger team and you're going to use the zone, you might as well take advantage of it and trap in the corner. That can get a little sticky sometimes, because if you do a trap here effectively in the corner and this person's a little bit taller or a little bit more seasoned, and they get that ball here, now you've got, you still have an effective defensive situation where you can, pop this guy down a little bit here and have this guy come out. But this guy has to know to move over, because you do leave some openings. And then obviously you leave some openings here too. So that this guy's gonna have to cover. So just be cognizant of that. But if you're trying to figure out how to address the problem of, I keep getting scored on in the paint, they're just driving in and they're destroying my man defense, switch to the 2-3 zone, because you can protect it. If you're just trying to protect the paint, you can instruct your players not to gamble and not to overextend on their defense, right? If the ball goes here and you really don't think that team can shoot threes, just put a guy on them, but let them know that, he can pop out. As long as they adjust over, you're still running the man appropriately, right? And then they can move. One thing that I always try to articulate to my players is, pretend like you're on a string when you're, attached to the player that is next to you. Because once one person moves, or once that basketball moves, everybody moves, right? You see, and you can see that here too, right? Like the basketball, let's say it was up here, it got passed down here, everybody moved to a different spot in their zone. And the same thing would happen if this ball was reversed down to this corner. Same thing's going to happen, right? Everyone's going to adjust. This player will now go here. This player will take that spot. This player will come up. I don't like to bring them too far up, but come up to about there. This player comes down here. There's a trapping opportunity again, very important in a 2-3 zone. And then the other player comes here. And we're focused solely on this zone, or I'm sorry, the paint. We don't want anyone to score in the paint. Now there are some other ways to run the 2-3 zone. You can run it extended, you can run a half court press. But today's video, I just wanted to help the coaches that are in the middle of a game and they're like, man, my man defense is just getting torn to pieces and they're just driving in and scoring layups. This will fix that. Getting them set up into a 2-3 zone, a behind the line 2-3 zone, you can really protect that paint. I've played against teams that can't shoot threes, and the way that I would do my zone defense, but if they were just like a super aggressive athletic team and like their strength is just driving in and scoring layups on teams, and this is kind of rare, right? Like, I don't think you're going to run into teams like this, but that have no shooters. But what, I just tell them, like, you know what, like, don't come very far off of this line and just pack it in. Don't let them touch it. Don't let them touch this paint. And then what will happen is the other coach will rotate his quick players out and he'll put shooters in. And then, once you start seeing them just take advantage of 3-point shots, go back to your man defense or change it, So today's video was solely about protecting the paint. What do you need to do? And we got to have strategies as coaches. And this is the strategy that I think you should consider using when you have a team that is just driving in. If you just want to protect the paint, it's simple. Just protect the paint. Use the 2-3 zone and protect the paint. Simple as can be. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, if you find this content useful, please like the video. Please subscribe to the video. If you have comments on ways that this was effective for you in a game, or if you just have something that you want to add to the video for the other viewers, please feel free to comment that down in the comment section below. Thank you.